Hello Canada, welcome back to the World Championship Series. I'm Sean Apollo-Clark, if you didn't know, joined by Jeff in Control Robinson, and to the far side we have our Australian, our notorious PIG, Jared Krenzel. Welcome to the desk.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here.
Wow. Wow, that was intense. Thank you, Pig.
You Queens people. Such good accents.
Such good accents. Our accent's clearly better than yours.
Yes,
clearly. I agree. Mine's better than yours overall.
No, Australian is better.
Yeah?
Yeah, by a lot.
Sorry, mate.
Sorry, mate. Put another shrimp on the barbie, why don't you? What we just saw, incredible start for Bunny, 2-0 against ForGG. Now, we can take a look at the group just to show you what happened and what's about to happen. Is a great start for Bunny, who jumps now to the decider match and must go up against the German player who is having the dream season that every player wants. He started in Challenger, he played against Naniwa, and everyone's like, all right, German player, who are you? Get out, Naniwa's on his return. No, that's not at all what happened. It was a 3-0, and he looked great. He then continued his run in the round of 32, where he almost, if not should have, won his group with Jadong, Elfie, and Haz way back when we were in Germany in the Cologne studios.
A very, very close set.
Very close group, very close set. Now he's here. He didn't have the best of games yesterday when he came up to the main stage, but he's in a decider match against Bunny. And you look at this matchup, and you've got to be thinking that this is all about Bunny right now. Everyone's focused, like, he just beat ForGG. He's actually gonna do it, because there was a lot of doubt on Bunny. And now it's, how do you look at this when we talk about?
Bunny's looking really strong. I mean, that game was very commanding. And what I really liked and impressed me about Bunny's play in that last series was he didn't really put himself in a box in terms of being too defensive.
Yeah.
We saw him, in the midst of dealing with a tank push, send that drop across the map. And that sort of balance in Bunny's play is what makes him look very commanding. He's got a great mix of aggression and defense, and he looks very confident and calm out there. GunGFu, though, I mean, he's kind of got that young, brash sort of, I don't care. Like,
He doesn't need money.
Yeah. He doesn't need money.
Who doesn't need money?
He said it in his interview. He doesn't need money.
GunGFuBanDa does not need money.
Well, look at when we watched him. We commentated his games. We looked at him in the round of 32. You watched the games back as well, obviously with Jadon being in the group. So much confidence. He oozed it. When you look at him, you looked at him in that group and was like, I don't know if you can really do this. I don't know if you can come to the season finals and perform. But he is performing. And as much as Bunny and everyone's looking at Bunny to move through to the global finals, this could be a continuation on the story of GunGFuBanDa, and he very, very possibly could advance here over Bunny, Jeff.
He absolutely could. His PvT is quite strong. I don't know enough about him to say it's his best matchup. I do know that a little while ago, Bunny was like unstoppable in TVP, so it's a bit of a collision. It's really nice. But going back on all the comments about him, I mean, we make jokes about him saying he doesn't need money, but what he did say, which has got to be chilling, and what Bunny touched on in his interview, is he doesn't seem to care. Like, up on stage, this should be nerve-wracking for a lot of people. Yeah. WCS points, the future, oh my God, so much money. He's just like, I want to play StarCraft, and he's going to do that, and that makes him terrifying.
And it just relieves all the pressure and makes it just a simple game from home, a simple ladder game pick?
I think so. He's got that unique flair in him where he does seem to be able to bring that home attitude to the big stage, and you very rarely see it in younger players, but there are some players, and they're often the rising stars who come out, they slay the tyrants, players like Life in the past, and they just have this really worldly sort of confidence about them, and at first people put it down as arrogance, but often they have the skills to back it up, and GunGFu has come out, he's shown us some really good surprises, and in the past he has actually upset Bunny in some online tournaments in Fragbite Masters last year as well, so I think it's going to be definitely Bunny in that confident position. He's got more riding on this, but GunGFu's going out there and he's got nothing to lose, everything to gain.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's time to introduce the players. Bunny once again, and of course GunGFuBanDa to the stage. Chobra, take it away.
The deciding match of Group A. Who will move on to the quarterfinals? We're about to find out in a best of 3. The first player coming onto the stage, he's that rogue player of Group A, the wild card with nothing to lose. Representing Planet Key Dynamic, it is GunGFuBanDa! And his opponent, The man that felt really good after his rest yesterday now has that momentum after the 2-0 against ForGG, and he has the hopes of many around the world behind him. Can he move on to the quarterfinals? Playing for Team Liquid, it is Bunny! Players, please shake each other's hands, get in your booths, and let's find out who moves on to the round of 8.
Thank you very much, Chobra. When I look at these two players on stage and just thinking about it a little bit there, is I looked at both of them and it felt to me that GunGFuBanDa is the same player that Bunny was 3 years ago. Then Bunny first had his big shot, had his big chance. And it's funny to look at it that way because Bunny is now such an established player, is a player that is on top of the scene in Europe. And GunGFuBanDa, as you've said, he's the youngest player in the tournament. It's his first season. He's a complete newcomer. He's got no pressure. And that is going to assist him so much in going up against Bunny.
Yeah, and not to overthink it too much, but it actually really works with the Protoss playstyle too. And we saw that with his series against Jade. I know we keep going to that, but to proxy 2-gate in the deciding game for who wins the group, like that's actually pretty incredible. And to have that kind of gusto to bring it here as a Protoss player, Proxy Oracle, Blink Stalker all in, all these crazy builds that have huge upswing but also huge downswing, especially given Bunny won 2 games in a row by basically counterattacking with a little bit of harass. It's going to be pretty incredible. It's building up a really nice little matchup.
Well, the German as well, I mean, not to push ForGG down too hard, but he also has beaten ForGG in this tournament. We know that ForGG did not have the best tournament here, but GunGFuBanDa has also beaten him. Now going up against another Terran, he's already showed he's good enough to beat high caliber of players. And he can continue to do so, no?
He absolutely can. He's shown strong play, and he's just looking very confident today, very calm, and he's not afraid to throw out some curveballs.
I mean, look at his stats here. I mean, for such a newcomer, everything is going right for him. He dropped and actually suffered his first loss in this tournament, but 4 wins and 1 loss overall. He beat ForGG. He's now in the decider match. He looks great. I mean, just looking at him now, he looks so confident and just calm.
That's the face of a guy that has no money problems or worries or needs. He's just here to play some games. And I mean, we make joke, we make light of it. He's giggling, just he's having a great time, but he has got to be terrifying for this guy who's like, young man, do you not understand the implications of this? Like, this is a big, big, big deal. And Bunny's number's great as well, as you can see.
Of course, Bunny has a lot riding on these games. We have to remember that Bunny comes from that position as that established top foreign player right now. He is so close to getting into that top 16 for those BlizzCon rankings, and this is such an important match for him. He needs to get out of this group. He needs to make it to that top 8, and hopefully even further to secure that spot at BlizzCon.
I mean, don't you, I mean, when looking at this, GunGFuBanDa, I can't keep repeating this enough, so young, doesn't care, in a great position. Why is he not fearing Bunny like he should be? A lot of players should be going in that booth and just fearing Bunny. Bunny is so very good at StarCraft II. He's fantastic in this matchup. Why is he not worried?
For a lot of players, the PvT matchup in particular is a real nice comfort zone, in that Terran players are scary and they're really good. You can see the first map here is going to be Coda, nice 1v1 map. But it doesn't bring, like, there's not really zany things that can happen. There's a few variations off of a pretty general core.
All right, well,
just talking about the map quickly, one of the things to watch out for here on Coda in Terran vs Protoss is really around that 10 to 13 minute mark. There's a lot of drops from the Terran. It's their job to limit the Protoss to do damage, and you want to keep an eye on this front low ground base out front, the main base of the Protoss. And if the Terran can clear up any observer vision there, it's going to open up a lot of avenues to get around the Protoss's vision. He can either boost into the main base or into the third base, and it's very hard for Protoss to cover that 3 bases.
And if it is so hard for Protoss to cover these bases, and Medivacs are going to be the key to victory for Bunny, and even the earlier stages with Widow Mines, which we know he loves to use. What is the best way, before we go to the match here, Jeff, for GunGFuBanDa to approach playing Bunny? Forget about the nerves, forget about, you know, what type of players these are. when it comes to Protoss versus Terran, how should GunGFuBanDa prepare to play Bunny?
Have a strong mix. We've seen a lot of Blink Stalker openings, not necessarily to end the game, but rather to have map control, have that tower, be defensive against those drops that Pig was talking about, but also put the fear of God in the Terran player, where it's like, well, I could attack you and you need to defend.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. It's time to decide which player is going through to the quarterfinals. Let's go over to the commentary team. Aspiration is the name of the game here for GunGFuBanDa. He goes up against a player who is considered the best non-Korean in the world at the moment. As GunGFuBanDa looks to rise to those heights as well, he has an opportunity to, but Bunny looks to keep his WCS road alive, as a lot of people out there are hoping for him to do well.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough match either way. Both players jockeying for the best foreigner position right now.
All right, let's get into it. Game number 1, Toronto, as we have, spawning up to the top left, it is our red Protoss. Representing Planet Key Dynamics, it's GunGFuBanDa. And down to the bottom right-hand corner, it is our blue Terran, coming off a strong victory against ForGG, no less, in the previous series. Representing Team Liquid, it's Bunny.
Oh, this is going to be such a tough match. Bunny coming off red hot, beating arguably the best European player right now, and now playing against a newcomer. GunGFuBanDa, only 17 years old, but playing as if he's been playing for years, as if he's been in WCS for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yep. Basically has nothing to lose from that point. I mean, you can see the attitude that he exudes at the moment. This carefree attitude. Says he doesn't even need money. I think maybe there's not so much truth to that. I don't know how that works out.
Yeah.
But in the end, he seems comfortable. And that has got to be a scary thing here for Bunny to deal with, even though Bunny comes in, for me, as the clear favorite.
Yeah, and GunGFuBanDa here going to open up with the double refinery build. Basically what that means for him is that he's going to be a little bit tech heavy, but at the same time, it can be a deceptive build. As soon as a Terran opponent scouts that, he's naturally going to be expecting some kind of trickery, whether it's Blink all in, Stargate, or something like that. At the same time, GunGFuBanDa can always just open double gas assimilator and never actually use it. He does only have 2 workers on each assimilator, which brings him at about 80% efficiency. I'm not sure if Bunny actually saw that second pylon, but he should have. And by seeing that second pylon, he should know that he's relatively safe to any early aggression.
All right, well, just trying to block this off at the moment here is Bunny going up against GunGFuBanDa. Oh, he gets the probe! Small victories, but that delayed things for quite a bit.
Yeah, and the Reaper's going to get it there pretty soon too, which could open up a few more kills. Of course, he's going to get this Nexus down. He's not doing anything too aggressive. He's going to try to hide this probe. The Reaper, of course, knows it's somewhere. He doesn't find it just yet. He's going to poke into the main base. Just do a slight harassment. GunGFuBanDa really can't lose another worker at this point. Not because it would be the end of the world, but at the same time, it is a mental game. Already losing one, kind of demotivating.
It's funny as well, because with this Reaper now just trailing around in the mineral lines, it kind of goes back to GunGFuBanDa's, like, the attitude that he is showing at the moment. Normally, when you see a Protoss going up against Terran, you normally see the gateway, Cybernetics Core, and Pylon walled around the mineral lines to try and delay those Reapers from moving about, but he didn't really care too much about that.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, maybe he wanted to hide pylons. Maybe that's the case, but at the same time, it's not really necessary when you're going to open up Nexus first anyways. Your opponent's going to know where you're at. I'm not sure why he decided to do that, but all in all, yes, of course, you want to have that wall. You want to have a safe place where your probes can retreat, where they can fall behind a defensive line. He didn't have that, but he didn't really lose a work either, so it's no problem right now.
Yeah, not too much of a problem. Bunny back at home, though, is playing his own go-to with Hellions on the way. Is this in anticipation for him to get a medevac count? Where does Bunny go from here with this kind of style?
Oh, he's going to look to do some kind of medevac play, probably at the same time, something double-pronged, whether it's the Marines in the medevac or the Hellions in the medevac. He wants to push in at 2 places at a different time. Make sure that GunGFuBanDa has to use that photon overcharge in one area and just kill as many workers as possible. It's going to be tough, though, because GunGFuBanDa did build a very early mothership. He already has that saved up. He just needs to make sure that he will use it at the last second possible and get as much value and time out of that as he can.
And already hiding something up towards the top. Dark Shrine is potentially in play.
As these Hellions going to try and dart on in, tries to block with these probes to make sure he can alleviate as many probe kills as possible. One Hellion's already fallen to just 2 probes at the moment, and then we're going to have a third one die off. With the fourth, he's actually left that alone. He knows that there's the potential for some damage to be done in the main. The Reaper comes in again. Bunny is already all over GunGFuBanDa.
Yeah, there's a really tough loss for GunGFuBanDa. I think he lost 6 total workers just for about the equivalent of 5. And whether you kill workers or not is very important. You can even trade inefficiently, but at this point, workers matter so much in this early game.
And he also went in there and saw the Twilight Council, but I don't think he saw it whirring away with the Blink upgrade. Does this really tip Bunny off as to what's going on?
As of right now, I don't think so. He's shown no signs of being, you know, seeing whether it be DT or not. I see no engineering base, so I don't think he's clued in yet. But we're going to see this double prong coming in. He does blow the photon overcharge at the natural, and he's pushing into the main.
Oh, he's going to lose that Mothership Core as well for those Marines if he's not careful. The Hellions actually head on into the mineral line. Don't actually get themselves just pro kills just yet, but the Mothership Core is down. Marines going to have to retreat on out. That's a lot of Stalkers, plenty of firepower here for GunGFuBanDa to keep him sturdy.
3 more workers do go down. I mean, GunGFuBanDa had the quicker Nexus, so he's almost even on workers. He's only down 4, but at the same time, with those mules, you can almost view them as 10 workers each time it's dropped.
The engineering bay isn't finished yet. It's only just started. Bunny here, there is a small window where he may take some damage. He has a little bit of energy saved up on these command centers, so as long as he reacts accordingly, he can try and drop down those scans and keep this alive. It's all about vision here at this point.
Yeah, and he doesn't even have a supply wall. He can't lift up. He can't buy time. These DTs are going to walk right in. Bunny hasn't noticed yet.
And he's trying to drop those Widow Mines. All of his attention was preoccupied on the other side, trying to do damage himself. But the Dark Templars are now in the mineral lines. And one of them may end up dying here. He should be able to get out of range because the Marines weren't in the right position. He goes down to the natural, starts working on a missile turret here. This is a great opportunity for GunGFuBanDa.
Yeah, GunGFuBanDa is doing a lot of damage. He's actually going to pull ahead slightly on these workers. He's up only 3, which isn't a big deal, but he's dodging the scans very well. Notice how he's spreading the DTs right outside of range.
One of them just snuck in. He drops a scan in the main base, will kill that one off, but at the natural, he's still going to work with the Star Templar. 14 workers have died off. Another scan goes down. The opportunity cost for those 3 scans alone is huge.
Yeah, every time you blow a scan, it's about 270 minerals. It's really hard for Bunny right now. He is getting security. He did get 1 missile turret up in the main. He should be able to lock down his natural. As soon as he gets those turrets up, he does have a chance to be aggressive. Because GunGFuBanDa did go DTs, he doesn't have a quick Colossus, he doesn't have splash damage, and he doesn't really have much of an army at all. At the same time, the Mothership did die, so he doesn't have 2 photon overcharge either. But can Bunny push?
We'll find out in just a bit. GunGFuBanDa already starting this series out with a little bit of trickery to try and defeat his opponent here, trying to move on forwards into the round of 8. If he was able to move on through into the round of 8, that would be, I mean, it's already been the highlight of his career so far, being here on this stage here in Toronto. But moving on to the round of 8 would be fantastic for him.
Yeah, for either of these players at this point, it would be the biggest accomplishment of the year for them, I would say. I mean, Bunny did make it last season, but I feel like he has a lot better opportunity here to go the distance, you know, make
Even
that
further.
final, make that championship, and make a name for yourself as, you know, the best foreigner without a doubt.
Yep. Yeah. Well, for now, he's going to launch an assault with 2 medevacs worth of units over towards the main base. The 3rd base is on the way as well, and for GunGFuBanDa, spreading himself across 3 bases, he doesn't have many precautions here. He doesn't have Blink, he doesn't have that Colossus out just yet, but he's spotted this quite well with that initial observer.
Yeah, he has really great vision, pylons around the map, observers, etc. But Bunny's going to throw down the scan and see exactly where their army is. And as soon as these bio units, there's no splash at the moment. The Colossus is about to pop out. He does have a cannon, but this bio's just going to tear right through it.
Drawn out position with those Hellions at the natural. This Bioforce going into the mineral line, killing off some workers, denying a lot of mining time, and will just get on out of there. As, oh, the poor guy.
Jimmy.
He can't separate himself into 2 pieces. There was only room for a Marine and a Marine in those 2 medevacs.
Yeah, slim fast.
Yeah.
He needs to make choices in his life if he wants to survive.
All right, well, Blink is now on the way. He's going to get himself +2 armor as well as GunGFuBanDa, so he's setting himself up well, and only taking 4 workers worth of damage. That is not too bad there for GunGFuBanDa.
Yeah, that was the moment where Bunny could have done a lot of damage, and realistically killing only 4 workers while he has that 3rd Nexus up isn't that big of a threat. Getting Guardian Shield here is nice. Both players just kind of feeling where there is a hole. And right now, GunGFuBanDa has had a really solid defense. He hasn't taken that many losses, and having that third Nexus is guaranteeing, you know, going into the mid game, if you do not do damage, I'm going to be in a great position.
Is there even third command center down yet?
There is not.
Sorry, Bunny even?
There is not.
Ah, that's could get a little bit tricky. 5 barracks worth, so he's looking to put on a lot of pressure here while that third command center is up and running. At least he's found the Dark Shrine, but it's next to the third that he's found as well, so there's not much he can do about it at this point.
He's gonna find a hole here though. There's no observer. He doesn't see this drop coming in, and he has another force on this right flank as well. He's gonna have to split his units. GunGFuBanDa has to make a hard decision here. Where does he send his army?
Photon Overcharge is going to try and buy some time here. Actually, they were focusing down on the Nexus, so they weren't getting guaranteed damage onto the probes or to the right-hand side. Bunny also trying to do a bit more of a poke forward, potentially realizing that some of that army was out of position. GunGFuBanDa separated some of his army. Well, though, he's going to try and go onto the Colossus, but I don't think it's going to be enough. GunGFuBanDa gets the better end of that engagement. He will push him away.
Yeah, great defense. Bunny trying to be cute, sending those Marauders in first, letting them tank, and them trying to pull in the DPS Marines in the back. But going all in on that Colossus and only bringing it down to half health isn't really worth it because those shields will regenerate, and realistically, there was no damage there.
Yeah, so state of the game here, Hook. You as our professional player here, has Bunny done enough?
Bunny has not done enough. He's not in horrible position, but he's definitely behind. Anytime you see Protoss even or ahead in supply at this point in the game, Bio versus just normal Blink, Colossus, charge lots, you gotta look at GunGFuBanDa and say, you know what? He's in great position.
And because he's not done enough in an important game, he's going to go for a big move here into the main base, looking to kill off that Colossus fast. It's trying to micro on back here, but it will end up falling. What else is he going to be able to take down? Some of the gateway units, they're all trickling forwards here and trying to kill them off as they come in. 2 Colossi. Once again, he gets onto the next one, but he doesn't manage to kill it. Oh, the defense here from GunGFuBanDa, keeping this back. The units moving forwards through to the third base here now for Bunny. And at the same time, I think there's enough here for GunGFuBanDa. Uh-oh. Gonna try and get onto the Colossus. He gets onto that one as well. GunGFuBanDa not babysitting them well enough. Loses another, but the Blink is gonna kill off all of these medevacs potentially.
Yeah, GunGFuBanDa having great defense. He's constantly moving those Colossus back while keeping his Zealots in the front. That Marauder not wanting to pick a fight there.
Nope, he's going on his sprint, will run away on home. And then replenish those medevacs now, getting that third base up. But still, Bunny looking for holes, looking for opportunities. I still don't think he's done what he really needs to the big business so far.
Yeah, so far he just needs to do more. He needs to kill workers. He needs to kill infrastructure. He needs to, you know, take those Nexus down. He's going to get a chance here. The units are out of position, but he's not really pulling that army apart.
And it drops the scan, cleans up the Dark Templar. This extra army coming in here with those 2 Colossi should be enough. Blinks forwards with the Stalkers once again. Can he get that medevac? Barely gets away.
He's got Blink. He could Blink down. I'm not going to risk it.
All right, well, Colossi just going to walk on down here. Dark Templar in the third base again. Marines should be able to deal with this as long as he micros on back, but unfortunately it's not good enough. And the SCVs come to the fight. 6 workers go down once again. 63 against 52 in the economy lines.
Oh, Colossus is going to be caught out here.
Oh my god, they're way out of position. Focuses him down. Trading that off for some of the bio is fine, but at the same time, that's so many Zealots. He needs to keep GunGFuBanDa dancing.
And he's going to drive the medevac right into the cannon, loses that as well. All of a sudden, he's seeing himself down 50 or 60 supply.
This is the opportunity for GunGFuBanDa. He's been defending all game long here in game number 1 against the player who is looking for, thirsty for those WCS points. But now GunGFuBanDa, with a massive army supply advantage, is going to bring the fight to Bunny's side of the map. Zealots charging on in. There's even a few Dark Templars in the mix. Only 1 Colossus, but his gateway force is still pretty strong here. As long as that 1 Colossus goes undenied at the back, he should be fine.
Yeah, he's just got to keep kiting back, but Terran's in a lot of trouble. He's just going to keep poking to the third in between the natural. He has that reinforcement pile, and he's constantly warping in units. I don't know. This is going to be really tough for Bunny.
Do the big damage you need to here, GunGFuBanDa. It is your window of opportunity. Just make sure you keep that Colossus alive. It takes a few shots there from the Marauders, but they have to go on back. Second Colossus comes in. Time warp. There you go. GG. GunGFuBanDa takes game number 1. Strong resilience there from him in the defensive game. Turned around by Bunny, not finding holes, not finding weaknesses. And GunGFuBanDa will take the first in the set.
Impenetrable defense. Like stellar defense. He constantly split his units. You see a lot of Protoss players, they'll have Blink Stalkers in the main base, and then they'll have their Zealot Colossus army at the third. GunGFuBanDa just splits his army into equally. Colossus in the main, Zealots, nice mixture, great defenses the whole game, providing that extra splash damage and constantly looking over those Colossus, keeping them in the back. And if Bunny wants to go for them, he's going to have to trade a good part of his army to try to touch them.
And this was one of those big moments, trying. This was one of the holes that Bunny hoped to find. And initially it looked like he may have done it, but GunGFuBanDa just continues on, continues to hold. Even though, you know, again, with the tech he had across these 3 bases, in my mind, it didn't look so great for GunGFuBanDa, but his crisis management was really on point.
Yeah, and Bunny's in this next game going to have to do a better job of doing 2-pronged attacks. He constantly tried to drop in the main, but at the same time, his force on the right flank attacking that 3rd base wasn't strong enough. It'd be a couple Marauders, a few Marines. You need to have more than that. You need to have an actual threat. Force him to make hard decisions, because right now he is not doing that.
GunGFuBanDa is aspiring to greater heights than he's ever attained at the moment. He is 1 game away from not only upsetting one of the best non-Koreans in the world who defeated ForGG in the previous game, but also moving on to the round of 8. And likewise, this man on screen needs those WCS points to keep his global finals alive. But 1 game away from complete elimination here in Group A, whilst GunGFuBanDa, this carefree guy from Germany, all the way from Germany, is looking really good in this matchup at the moment.
Yeah, they both want to tote that title. I am the best foreigner. I am the person that will go toe-to-toe with these Koreans. I will defend, you know, not only my nation, but Europe, you know, the West, the scene. And right now, Bunny has that title, but GunGFuBanDa up 1-0 already.
Echo will be our next map here, ladies and gents, as GunGFuBanDa 1 game away, looking really, really good. His defensive game is strong. Is Bunny going to have to change things up? It's his last lifeline here in the round of 16. And he's going to have to bring something special to defeat GunGFuBanDa, who looked good versus ForGG. He's looking good versus Bunny. Let's get into it, Toronto, as we have spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner. Maybe the last time we see him here in this tournament, representing Team Liquid, it is Bunny. And the young new blood, the upstart, up to the top left in the red, representing Planet Key Dynamics, it's GunGFuBanDa.
That last game was very interesting. Bunny opening with an aggressive move, going those Hellions, going those Widow Mines, trying to split GunGFuBanDa's defenses, and at the same time, GunGFuBanDa being able to counter with his own aggression. Dark Templars, they both traded a lot of workers, they both traded their economies. GunGFuBanDa came out ahead, and he just, as you said, crisis management was on point the whole game. Defended, he knew where he was at, he didn't have to pressure Bunny at all, he didn't panic, and then at the end of the day, he knew he was up 56 supply and just pushed for the win.
Yeah, you can actually say that about GunGFuBanDa's whole road here throughout Season 2. Going into Challenger, 3-0 Naniwa. Going into his group stages, went toe-to-toe with Jaedong, of all people. Coming here into the round of 16, being able to defeat ForGG, and now on the verge of taking out Bunny, the best non-Korean. I don't think anybody, looking at GunGFuBanDa's opponents throughout the season so far, would have said, yeah, GunGFuBanDa, he's my man. Very few people were saying that in the games he had. Except Jeff.
Jeff knows for some reason, but I think it's just his whole style and outlook. We said he's a carefree guy, seems to be very confident, he doesn't really care about money, all these things. Even his builds. Look where he's putting his buildings. He's saying, you know what, every Protoss player, they're going to do that little wall, they're going to try to protect their I don't care, let them come in, I'm not worried, it's not a problem. And he's just showing that in every part of his play.
All right, well, Bunny is going to head in here with the SCV again, once again, to send a message and relay that back to the Reaper as to what is going on in terms of this structure. He sees these building placements and he's got to be like, all right, I can run rings around this for a while with that first Reaper to get across there. And it does get over there pretty fast, but that Zealot, actually.
Yeah, he actually let that Zealot finish, but on top of that, I don't think Bunny necessarily saw it. Now the question is, will he try to hide it? Of course, PvT, you're expecting the Terran player to make that Reaper to do that secondary poke so he can check what the Protoss is up to. And look, he's immediately going to take a side path. He wants to get that Zealot into the natural, into the main, killing SCVs, putting pressure on. Because behind this, of course, Bunny is going to be getting a reactor. He's not going to be getting more Reapers. So that Zealot can actually do a decent amount of damage in this game. really smart play. The SCV didn't see it scouted. He said, you know what? It's deep in my base. It's not keeping track of the gateway. I'm going to actually let it finish.
Just small things like this so impress me so much about GunGFuBanDa. Of course, he loses himself a probe. Now the Stalker's going to have to come back and start cleaning up. Second probe goes down, so a little bit off in regards to protecting them. But the Stalker will shoo it away. Zealot now appears in the base, and oh, poor guy. The path is blocked, my friend.
He just wants to play. He just wants to play. He wants to say hello. Those SCVs not letting him in. He can still do a good amount of damage. This is actually a little bit based on luck. Those SCVs do build around the buildings, but where they go, it's not decided. You know, it's a little bit of a gamble. And what? Bunny, luck was on Bunny's side this time. The SCVs didn't poke outside, so he did get no kills, and now all of a sudden this Zealot seems very much not worth it. It didn't really do any damage.
Trickery afoot here for GunGFuBanDa once again going up against Bunny. I mean, if you relate that back to the game number 1 with his Dark Templar opening, and now just a small change up at the first start, but Bunny cleans it up and still got those 2 probe kills like we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and that's a little bit, like, I would be tilted already, to be honest, just from that, but it was a calculated risk from GunGfu to get that Zealot. I would have done the same thing. It looked like it was going to pay off. Unfortunately, it did not, and at the same time, like you said, losing those 2 probes, not the biggest of deals. I don't think it's going to determine the game, but at the same time, it does put you a little bit behind.
Nexus on the way in spot. It will be finished up now with the Robo facility going down behind this for GunGFuBanDa. So Robo, this timing, sometimes can lead to those 2-base Colossus pushes, which we've seen be very, very prevalent. We've seen Little Bo use it on this map yesterday, which looked fantastic and propelled him onto the round of 8. Could be something GunGFuBanDa uses here.
Yeah, Bunny's going to do a little aggressive push with these Marines. This is just a scouting move, almost. He wants to see what his opponent's up to. In my opinion, that's not enough Marines. You can constantly just kite back with the Stalkers, use the Mothership. You don't have to use Photon Overcharge. If he does use Photon Overcharge at this point, it would be a big mistake. And at the same time, the Robo can be very telling, but hard to say.
Yeah. It can easily be used for the defensive game. He's going to try and focus down that Mothership core. Don't think he's going to get to it. Likewise, these Stalkers should be able to buffer enough to be able to kill it. Good movement there from Bunny to try and do damage to this Stalker, but he manages to save it anyway. And that Mothership core is going to come in for the killing blow on this last Marine. Great little management by GunGfu.
Yeah, as I said, it didn't really pay off for Bunny, and now all of a sudden his secondary push, this medevac, this threat, isn't going to have the Marines with it. It's not going to have that second punch. And it didn't pay off. You took off shields, but those units, of course, are going to regenerate their shields, and they're still going to be fighting units. They're still going to be able to do damage, especially against a Widow Mine.
In this game, in game number 2, where we're back into Bunny trying to poke holes in GunGFuBanDa, game 1, it didn't really go that well. This Widow Mine drop here, how much is it really going to do? The focus is on the butt. Okay, 2-5, not too bad, not too bad.
Yeah, not so bad, but at the same time, for what? He didn't lose anything. He immediately picked up, he immediately could leave. Going that first early Robo instead of the Twilight Council, you don't really have that aggressive blink to get under that medevac. You can't chase with the boost. He does get the Observer on the other side of the map, but it doesn't really tell him anything he needs to know. He should be able to predict all of this already as a professional player. You know the timings, you know the medevac comes. You can pretty much assume this is what he's going to have. It's nice to know for sure, but not that big of a deal. These Widow Mine's going to get down again. They should be able to get a Stalker. Get 1 Stalker, loses 2 Widow Mines. Is it worth it? Wow, a secondary drop. How many probes were actually lost? 3 more probes were actually lost in the natural as well. That adds a little bit more. As I said before, losing workers at this point in the game is way more important than, 5-10 minutes from now.
Finding the holes, and the Robo base starts now with no sign of forges just yet here, Huck. So is this him going down? I don't think he saw the 3rd command center already finished up, for which Bunny, that's a little bit of a difference compared to the first game.
Yeah, it's surprising that he didn't actually scout that command center. He does have that Observer. He has free reign. He scouted most of the main and natural base. Not to see that 3rd command center is a huge, huge blunder at this point. If he knew that was happening, he could, of course, pick and adapt to what he needs to do. Right now, it seems like he wants to be a little aggressive. He's trying to cut off this medevac, but with that boost, it's hard to do. He's trying to scout out. He has great Observer placement. He's going to catch the medevac.
And he's got Blink as well, I think, has finished up, so this will fall with 2 Widow Mines in it. A good pick up there by GunGFuBanDa, as he now positions a pylon down to the south. Starts his 3rd Nexus. But Colossi have begun production here, and there's no extra probes in production here. Okay, now he does start them.
Yeah, and he's just trying to get what advantages he can. With these Blink Stalkers, you really shouldn't lose them. It's all about mobility. It's all about killing things without losing anything. As soon as those shields drop, you want to blink out. And look at that. He just picks up a couple more kills, slowly pulling himself back into the game. But he's going to need a lot more than that because right now, Bunny has the advantage. He has that third command center, and I don't even know if GunGFuBanDa still knows about it.
Slower pace to game 2. Both of them know the severity of this game and how it plays out. Bunny knows that he cannot be losing this one. GunGFuBanDa, obviously with the game in hand at the moment, but would much rather round this out 2-0. And the Forge has now gone down, so very, very late upgrades for him in this regard, but at least he has a good Colossus base to keep him in check.
Yeah, he's going for the 1 Forge, so it most likely will be that armor upgrade. Right now, both players just trying. Terran wants to put pressure on him. Bunny wants to, but at the same time, with the Blink Stalker threat, you can't overextend. As soon as you overextend, you're going to lose units. You're going to either have to burn Stim, you're going to have to lose that medevac, you're going to have to split your units. Either way, it's not going to be a good thing. Overextending burst Blink is a lot more costly than if he didn't have that Blink. He knows he has it, and he's going to be constantly being poked by these Stalkers, so he needs to know if he commits to a push or he doesn't, but he can't play with GunGFuBanDa out on the map.
Prowlers continue to be set up close by. This probe will get cleaned up, but at the same time, the economy is so much advantage here of Bunny. So right now, this is a great opportunity for him to macro up, run away with this game, double starport. Well, where the extra one is being added on. So he is really acclimatizing to the fact that if this Colossus push comes, he really needs Vikings, but is this an actual attack, or is this just kind of flexing his muscles?
It's hard to say. With Protoss, you always have the option to pull back. You have force fields, you have time warp, you have recall, you have that blink. Most of your units have a lot of flexibility, and at the same time, it's a scary factor for Bunny. He doesn't know either. He's thinking, do I have to pull SCVs here? Do I have to immediately start cranking out Vikings? I want to be on the aggressive foot. But GunGFuBanDa is one of those players I'm realizing that is all about control. Look at the map. See how much vision he has. He has pylons set up. He has observers all over the place. Bunny, who's usually, Terran are usually at this point in the game being aggressive themselves. GunGFuBanDa isn't a 2-base all-inner. He has 3 bases. He's teching up at home. He's getting upgrades. But at the same time, he's saying, you know what? I'm a threat. I'm in your face. I dare you to do something. You want to trade like we did last game? Go drop, and I'm going to bust your main base.
And as much as Bunny has been in these high-octane situations before, I mean, facing down elimination at the moment, you've got to be a little bit scared. You've got to be a little bit wary. He's on the hunt now, trying to find this army.
He wants to trade. He sees the army moving out with the observer. He moves to the side. He says, you know what? Go for it. I'm willing to do this. Now, you're going to have a tough call. Do you come home? Do you trade?
He's on the way back. He's on the way back from this, and he's actually going to blink forwards with these Stalkers.
He needs to pick off this mothership. If he picks off the mothership, he'll trap this army. GunGFuBanDa for sure is recalling here.
Yeah, there's no way he can stick around. Going to force field out some of that army. There's actually not many medevacs with it because he was actually forcing out Vikings to begin with. Recalls on out, leaving a few Stalkers back behind all of this, but he bought himself back to home a lot of time because Bunny's army is so huge. He had to buy time.
Yeah, I really would have liked to see him target down that mothership. He got 1 Colossus, took another one to half HP. If he trapped that army, Bunny would have all of a sudden gone into that 3rd game 1-1. But at the same time, he's still up 50 supply. GunGFuBanDa did the right move. He tried to buy time, but it didn't really pay off for him. Now he's going to be looking down the barrel of the gun here. Bunny, he has nothing to worry about. He knows the full army recalled. He has no threats at home. He can commit and focus on just this push, and he has the army to take it down.
Yeah, how many Vikings are we at actually? With the Ghost Cam going down, about 12 Vikings, so it's enough here to be able to really start rivaling this army. If 1 Colossus falls before the fight even begins, this could be a catastrophe here for GunGFuBanDa. The opportunity for Bunny to keep himself alive is real. Photon Overcharge has gone down on this Nexus. Another Colossus ends up falling though. The damage here of GunGFuBanDa's army is being broken down very, very rapidly as the Vikings once again get in here. Blinks forwards to try and get on top of those. But the army of Bunny is up in the natural, focusing down the Nexus. He's cut off a little bit up down the right-hand side, but the last Colossus falls. The Nexus goes down as well. Bunny here is in a pretty brilliant opportunity to actually take this game, forcing to a game number 3. Another Colossus is under threat here by just bio alone, and that goes down. There you go, GG. Game number 2 goes to Bunny, and he keeps himself in the running here to move on to the round of 8.
Yeah, what a game. Bunny played way better this game. Just a small little pickoffs. A couple SCVs here, a couple SCVs there. All of a sudden, 1-1. Who will be the foreigner to look out for in this tournament?
Well, could easily be one of these guys. As GunGFuBanDa, I think, you know, he's going to be not reeling too much from that. I think as he looks at both of those games, he probably thinks to himself, oh, well, okay, clearly I didn't see that third command center early enough. Clearly I wasn't in as much control as I thought I was with the pylons, with the vision that you were mentioning before, which is a really, really good point to bring up. As soon as the Protoss has established that kind of perimeter, difficult for the Terran to do something, but if the Terran's sitting back home on his 3 bases all happy, what are you going to do?
Yeah, all in all, GunGFuBanDa has such strengths in some of his play and such weaknesses at the same time. We saw him play against Jaedong in Germany. He had a great build order win. He let it slip through his hands. And here again, taking 2 probes, losing those 2 probes to just a Reaper, that's not good. That is not professional play. But on the other hand, going into the mid game, all that control, all that vision, controlling the map, being aggressive, being able to recall, make those smart decisions at such a young age as well. I would love to coach this kid, to be honest, because I feel like, you know, he's such a great player and he has a great potential. He just has a few holes he needs to fill in, and as soon as he does that, he's going to be probably a top foreigner, if not the best.
From player to caster to coach.
There you go.
That's where you're going, man. All right, let's get into it. Game number 3 now. This game will decide who moves on to the round of 8 and who is going home. For both of these guys, this is a big, big moment. Bunny wants those points. GunGFuBanDa wants the glory as we go into Iron Fortress. Spawning up to the top left-hand corner, it's our blue Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Bunny. And down to the bottom left-hand corner, it's our red Protoss representing Planet Key Dynamics. It's GunGFuBanDa.
Once again, it looks like already from this pylon position, it seems like not worried about that Reaper. He should be, though, because he keeps losing workers, to be honest. I mean, I don't want to harp on him too bad, but he has great points in his play, but losing that early 2 workers is a pretty big deal. It's not going to end the game, but at the same time, it's going to put you a little bit behind, and you never want to be going against a player a little bit behind, especially a player the caliber of Bunny. He is such a strong, confident opponent. Going down 0-1 in the decider match, knowing that you could be going home. You have nothing to do tomorrow but watch. No one wants to come here and watch as a player.
It's a really good point that you bring up. I mean, from the perspective of Bunny, Bunny is a guy that will play from game 2. Uh-oh, 2 gases that early. Well,
and on a 4-player map.
Yeah, this is interesting. But going back to my previous point, Bunny from game to game, seeing those kinds of things, is a very, very reactive player. He will be able to try and exploit you game to game after seeing what he's spotted. Obviously, you know, there's some research involved in prior to a series actually unfolding, but he can also adapt on the fly, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, both players' personalities actually coming into their playstyle. GunGFuBanDa being carefree, willing to take risks, willing to mix it up a lot.
Yeah.
Bunny being, you know, you always see him SCV scout pretty early, as we're seeing this 3rd game as well. He's playing very safe, conservative. He wants to rely on his mechanics, his micro, his macro, his decision making. GunGFuBanDa's, you like, you know what, I'm gonna take a risk. I'm gonna go DTs. This game, I'm not gonna wall. I'm gonna, you know, have my position. I'm gonna take my home ring, put it in your base, and I'm gonna chance on it that I'm gonna get that recall, not lose units.
In game 3 here, is this lining up for a Stargate play from GunGFuBanDa? The spawning positions can work out well for it.
Definitely could. I would say that is likely. But now seeing the probe being caught out by the Reaper, it's going to be a hard decision. He might just throw the Stargate up at home on that northern wall, which he does immediately. But the key point here will be if he can deny scouting to that Reaper and that SCV. The SCV is going home, but the Reaper's coming pretty quickly here, and his Stalker is only halfway done. Will the Reaper go to that north side? It's not going to see a Nexus, so he might already start figuring out, hey, something's awry here.
Yeah. And also, is counting pylons and being able to spot them something here? Oh, but the Stalker denies pretty much all the scouting in towards the main base, and he's doing a good job of turning it out.
I'm not sure if he realizes that that could have been a Nexus or not. I think he barely should know that there's no Nexus there.
All right, well, we'll slowly read into this as Bunny, for now, is getting himself that factory. If he does go into Widow Mines and uses them in a defensive posture, up until, say, a medevac came along or something, then he could quite easily shut this down. The bunker right next to the command center. I think he understands what is going on, despite not really getting huge amounts of information.
Yeah, it really can only be a few options here. It's a Blink All In, DT, or Oracle, but He picks correctly, throws up the safe bunker in the main base, and at the same time, this Reaper is going to get in pretty deep here to get a good amount of information. The Stargate is on the north side, so he won't see it. Gets one probe again. Not the biggest of deals if he can kill this Reaper before it sees the Stargate.
Confirmation.
And now he knows. He's going to have a Widow Mine soon enough. Will he be able to pick off this Oracle before it does a good amount of damage? So that bunker, not in the best position. It's not a turret. It is clunky. You can't just throw it up in the middle of the mineral line.
Yeah.
But he's just going to use it to scout. He's playing very safe. You never know. When you see that factory, you immediately know, okay, there's a Widow Mine somewhere. But where is it? Because it can be hidden around behind the refinery. There's a lot of weird building placements where it kind of covers, and you can camouflage that Widow Mine behind the command center, behind a refinery, somewhere on the mineral line. You want to protect your workers.
Yeah. Bunker can also be the safe haven for Marines. If they do get caught off guard by the Oracle, they can just run on in there and keep themselves alive. Even the missile turret going down. So Bunny really crossing all the T's, dotting all the I's, making sure he's not going to be exploited. Although the natural, some of his economy is being slowed down. But as long as he doesn't take many worker kills, he's going to be fine.
Yeah, and GunGFuBanDa at the same time, he's not in any rush here. As long as he doesn't lose the Oracle, the threat alone is cost effective. He's killing a few workers, of course, but at the same time, you got to throw up the bunker. You got to cancel a turret. You got to build another turret. You're investing all this time and energy into things that won't really come into play mid-game.
And this is the scary thing about GunGFuBanDa's WCS campaign as a whole, because from game to game, he keeps changing it up. From game to game, he's able to play quite the...
He should see that Widow Mine. Maybe? Oh my, this is so tense. So Marines trying to push the Oracle. Hey, just come this way, come this way. And he's not really doing it.
Another Widow Mine as well.
He knows he's safe in his mineral line, so he can kind of push these Widow Mines to the edges of his bases, hoping that, you know, GunGFuBanDa is going to feel relatively safe. Because when you have that Oracle, you're always assuming that your opponent's only worried about the mineral line. Why would they be protecting this dead space around his base?
Finds himself on the gas, but loses himself a probe to one Marine alone. From the gate, from the Stargate opener here, though, Hook, with the added-on Phoenix for a map like Iron Fortress, that gives him a little bit more protection against what we could see here.
Oh, he's going to lose this Oracle.
Oh, good shot there from the Widow Mine. We'll be able to pick that up. Of course, it kind of GunGFuBanDa's folly in the end there. But yeah, the Phoenix is going to be a little bit helpful here on a map like this, right?
Yeah, he has that one Phoenix basically because he knew that he had the factory. And factory play always shows aggression. He could have a medevac. He could have, you know, just Hellions in the medevac, Marines. It doesn't matter. He needs that one Phoenix. He needs the vision on that left side of the map just to confirm. And just as I say that, we see something moving down this left side.
Should be able to spot it unless he's extremely unlucky with the pathing of this Phoenix. But that will be able to rally on back.
And that Phoenix as well can cancel out one of the Widow Mines. He sees it. He sees it for sure now. But does he realize his units aren't moving?
No.
These Widow Mines going to get in. Oh, they're all clumped up. Can he get them in position?
Wait, does he even have detection? The Oracle's about to pop here, and he can use vision to actually spot all of this. But dropping these Widow Mines here and there sacrifices one probe for the greater good. And he should be okay.
And now this Oracle's going to come out. He should be able to clean up these Widow Mines before they have more damage.
Yeah, he loses a lot of mining time for that, though, of course. There's it in vision. We'll be able to spot the first one. Second one goes down. Head on down to the natural. Clean up the ones that are about to recharge quicker, and then go clean up the natural.
And on top of that, as a professional player, it's just a stressful factor. He had to pull off his workers, as you said. He has to resplit them. He has to put, you know, 2 or 3 on each gas. He made one mistake already in his main base. He only had 2 workers in that northern refinery. He has rectified that mistake already, but it's a lot of energy just to do that. On the other hand, Bunny, he's going to macro perfectly at home. He doesn't have to worry about it. He doesn't have to put his workers back and split them. He's busy perfecting that macro, and we can see that in the supply. He's up, you know, almost 20 supply as is. He's pumping a lot of barracks, and he's going to be very aggressive going into this mid game because he knows, on top of all that, he scouted the entire base.
Yeah.
He knows there's no observer. He knows that there's no Colossus threat. He knows he can make moves on this map. There's no Phoenix even.
Bunny's choice, 5 barracks against, and then into 3rd command center, so he will have a heightened production while getting that 3rd up, but at the same time on the other side, GunGFuBanDa slightly supply blocked, but he has that 3rd nexus himself on the way on spot, which is now just finished up. So if that goes unhindered, he'll be in a great little position, but he sees all of this army moving out, and he's got to be a little bit careful.
He's taking a very calculated risk right now. GunGFuBanDa knows he's a little bit behind. He doesn't have the tech units. He wants to pick something off. He's got a lot of sentries, he has a lot of opportunity to just do damage. He's trying to set up a flank here. He wants to take an uneven fight, but Bio is so strong, it's just bleeding through.
Now, all those Stalkers are falling rapidly here. Despite the force fields, it's not really enough to be able to contain the sheer power of this Bio force, but he's actually been able to do pretty well with them. He's not reacting to these two Widow Mines. That being said, neither is Bunny. He now selects them. He's going to actually burrow those and try and get some good detonations.
Oh, no.
Kaboom, baby. 5 go down. They actually both hit in a similar place, so they didn't do as much damage as they could have done. But now, GunGFuBanDa is looking to go into assault mode. He's got to be very careful. He actually throws down the Earth Vision, will kill off one of those Widow Mines. Second one's going to go down as well. He drops a scan thinking it might have been an observer, but no, it's just the Oracle.
Yeah, but these gateway units are so flimsy. There is no splash, and these medevacs will heal so very quickly. GunGFuBanDa needs to do something, though. These Widow Mines are just a ticking time bomb in his mineral line. This one's going to reset, pick off 2 more. He's going to pull SCVs. The big engagement's going down. These Stalkers just don't have enough firepower. They're being shred by the Bio.
It's all on the blink. How much well can the Marauders hold off? And Bunny takes a huge supply advantage here. He's keeping his hopes alive here in WCS, chasing away this army. There's nothing in the production tab here for GunGFuBanDa. All he starts is a few units. And despite having that third Nexus behind it, there's not that much transition capability here for him.
Yeah, and Bunny being in one of the hardest groups is all of a sudden going to be a top 4er once again, hoping to represent his country and the West in this upcoming round of 8.
GunGFuBanDa is reeling. He is reeling at the moment as Bunny is taking position, taking control of this map. His third base is down behind all of this. And more units just warping for GunGFuBanDa. It's desperation time here for him. He loses a few more Stalkers.
He's just clinging at this point, trying to force his opponent to stay on his side of the map, saying, I'm a threat, I'm scary. But right now, Bunny knows he's in position. He's going for that jugular.
All of the hopes for GunGFuBanDa went into this GG. Bunny keeps his hopes alive on his road to potentially the global finals later on. He makes the round of 8 after holding off against build after build after build of the aspiring young player in GunGFuBanDa. And Bunny is able to win out in the very end.
Yes, Bunny, just that experience coming through. GunGFuBanDa having an incredible game, but not good enough, not yet.
Well done there by Bunny to move on. Let's hear from him, moving on to the round of 8.
We hear the crowd chanting, Bunny, 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 and here he is moving on to the round of 8. The dream stays alive, the hope is alive, and I get to talk to you again. That's also excellent. Well, it was a bit of a tense match. It didn't start off so well for you, but now that it's behind you, how do you feel? A little bit relieved, maybe?
Yeah, it's such a huge relief. Like, there's so much on the line for this match, the global finals, and of course, moving on to WCS. When I lost the first game, I was a bit discouraged, so I'm really relieved that I managed to win.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, you know, that's kind of been the story for you this whole time. You're so close to making it into that top 16 for the global finals, and now you are one step closer. Does that affect how you play each match? Does it kind of linger in your head every time?
It did a little bit in this group, but I think I'm going to try my best to keep it out of my head and just focus on the matches at hand. Because if you start thinking too much about it, then it can only like harm your performance. So I'm going to just try to do my best from here on.
That sounds good. Yeah, another big round of applause for Bunny moving on. Now, you said that you were a little bit discouraged after map 1, and at the end of map 2, did that make you really tense that you were like, yes, I can stay in this, I can win this map and go on to the third one, or were you still a little bit unsure in that last fight?
In the last fight, I was really sure. When you did the weird counter attack into recall, I wasn't sure if he had Storm behind it. If he did have that, then it would be tough. To be honest, my practice isn't going so well against Protoss. I think it might be my weakest matchup. So I hope I don't get Lil Bao in the round of 8.
All right, wanting to avoid Little Bao, but still going for that final win. And the crowd's really behind you here, of course, ever around the world. How happy are you to have their support?
I'm really happy. You guys are just awesome.
All right, another big shout out to all of you here, all of you back at home. Team Liquid's Bunny moves on to the round of 8 to try to get that championship title.
Thank you very much, Joba. Congratulations to Bunny as he does once again make it to another top 8. 2 consecutive top 8 performances now in Season 1 and Season 2 in 2015. Joined once again by In Control and Pig. Bunny getting closer again to his dream. He's now 1 match away from getting to where he was in Season 1. And a very Good performance, a bit shaky, but he got what he wanted. He turned his group around, and that was really everything he needed today. Started rough yesterday, lost versus Hydra. We were questioning whether he was even going to escape today's group. Smashed down 4GG and was able to beat out GunGFuBanDa. Excellent news here for Bunny and, of course, Team Liquid Pig.
What a sigh of relief that must have been for Bunny, as he was saying there. That first game, that's the sort of game you're going into that. You're the favorite here. You've got so much to lose if you can't make it out of this round of 16. And then to rally after such a frightening loss as that first game, I think it showed some really, really good, solid mindset.
Is the momentum going to keep building here for Bunny, Jeff? He's picked up 4GG. He's now taking out GunGFuBanDa. He's in the round of 8.
Yeah, he's done for the day. I mean, and he said even earlier in his interview that the rest did him well. It kind of let him go, okay, adjust and recalibrate. And I think he's going to do that again, but more in a positive light this time around. Like he said, he wants to avoid Lilbo, but other than that, he's feeling really confident. He just, like you said, dominated in the TvT and then had a really nice series here. So I feel like he's going to sleep really well tonight, and he's going to be motivated for tomorrow.
Do you think that his performances here in these 2 games we've just seen is good enough to be able to equal his Season 1 performance of a round of 4? Is he good enough at this moment, or does he need to still step it up again?
Absolutely. I mean, I think he hit a bit of a brick wall in Hydra, and Hydra, he was himself saying his ZVT right now is really on fire, and that's going to make you look a little bit silly in a best of 3. That was the only kind of short glimpse we got to look into that, but he is playing on point. I think Terran, Zerg, and Protoss need to be concerned about Bunny in the round of 8.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. It's time to wrap up Group A, and by wrapping it up, let's take a look at the bracket. As it is completed, we know exactly who is where, in what position. We started yesterday with the very opening games, 4GG versus GunGFuBanDa and Bunny versus Hydra. And we have the Season 1 finalists going through in first place, dominating Group A. And Bunny was the player that came out instead of 4GG and GunGFuBanDa. 2 players here that made it to the top 4 in Season 1. Consistency is one word that strikes out immediately by looking at this, Pig.
Absolutely. It's a situation where a lot of players were, I think, doubting some of these players getting out of this group of death. Everyone looked like they could have fallen there, but after making it through, you got to feel confident going into that round of 8. You're one of the favorites now to take out the whole thing.
Yeah.
1s play versus 2s, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I think projecting a little bit, but Bunny's going to have a tough time because Stardust and Lilbo took number 1, so he's got some guys to dodge.
So the way that it works, he wouldn't be able to play against Hydra because he played in group stages with Hydra, which leaves him with Pult, Lilbo, or Stardust are the players that Bunny could bump into in the round of 8. Very, very difficult. He has his chance against Pult again, which is awesome to hear, and I'm sure he'll be very excited in that. Yeah. But Stardust and Lilbo, he picked out Lilbo over Stardust, though, which is important to bring to the discussion here. What are your thoughts on this, Pig, before we completely close this up?
I think there's a bit of history just in the European scene between a lot of the players living there. And obviously, I think after Lilbo's performance on day 1, Bunny's got to be respecting him a lot. Maybe he's been practicing against Stardust a little bit. Maybe just feels like they match up a little bit stronger stylistically. Whereas Lilbo's, I guess he's been looking a bit more like a brick wall of Protoss, just so solid. And those sort of players, sometimes you just feel like they're a little bit out of your reach. If you're having a little bit of a hard time in the matchup, you'd rather play a messier game. Going up against one of those crazy solid players like Lilbo, it can just be a little bit intimidating.
Yeah, fantastic point there, Jeff. I didn't even think about it myself. That's why you're here. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's time to go to a break. When we return, we are going into Group B to finish the group to decide which player will join Pult in the round of 8. When we come back, it's going to be Holland versus France in Firecake versus Hearthstone.